truth, I think we're living in the most dangerous times since we got attacked.
America has seen its fair share of political storms, but the years under Donald Trump felt like something different. It wasn't just the usual political debates, it was chaos, outrage, and a country that seemed more divided than ever. From fiery speeches to dramatic policy shifts, Trump's presidency shook up everything. Some saw him as a leader who wasn't afraid to speak his mind, while others believed he was tearing the country apart. And when things get messy, people speak up, especially those with influence. Enter two Hollywood legends, Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro. These aren't just any actors, they're cultural icons, voices that people listen to. For decades, they've played roles that reflect America's struggles, its triumphs, and its darkest moments. But this time, they weren't acting. They were angry, and they had something to say. Freeman believes America is in one of its most dangerous times. De Niro? He's called Trump a gangster running the country like a mob boss. These aren't just passing comments. They're loud warnings from two men who have watched history unfold and don't like what they see. And they're not alone.
We're in a very bad situation. I remember you and I about 5-6 years ago talking. I'm down at the Spring Studios, something about, I said, what just happened just happened. No, it didn't. It didn't happen. It's all about truth. And what we have here is a denial of truth all over the place. And even the speech that he made after is insane. It's just insane. And I'm very, very concerned about it. I think we all are. It's insane. So that's why I felt I had to do something, say something about it, to go on record.
Morgan Freeman isn't the kind of person who jumps into political debates for attention. When he speaks, people listen, because his voice carries weight, wisdom, and a no-nonsense attitude. And what he's been saying about America lately, it's a serious wake-up call. Freeman believes the U.S. is in one of the most dangerous times in its history, not because of foreign enemies or economic struggles, though those exist too, but because of what's happening inside the country. Division, misinformation, and a leader who he says was never fit to hold office. He's not alone in thinking this. Experts have warned that democracy itself was at risk under Trump, with attacks on the media, a disregard for facts, and an obsession with power that made the country feel less like the land of the free and more like a ticking time bomb. Freeman has called out policies that, in his view, made America weaker, not stronger. The handling of racial tensions, the rise of hate groups feeling emboldened, and the chaos surrounding key institutions, he's pointed to all of it. He's also spoken about Trump's erratic leadership, questioning his ability to handle crises responsibly. He's never minced words when discussing Trump's presidency. Whether in interviews or public appearances, Freeman has expressed his frustration, warning that history has seen what happens when leaders prioritize ego over the people. And what he sees? A country that was being pushed toward instability by someone who cared more about his image than the job itself.
Democratic National Convention.
Yes.
You really want a female president, don't you?
I really do.
Yeah.
You want maybe to a point. But I think, it's time we moved on from old white men running the country.
Be a nice change.
Now,
speaking of old white men, do you remember the first time you voted, and who was it for? Or is this in the CRS category?
Yeah.
For Freeman, this isn't about politics. It's about the survival of a country he loves. And when someone like him is worried, maybe the rest of America should be too. Robert De Niro isn't just critical of Donald Trump. He absolutely despises him, and he doesn't hold back. He's called Trump a wannabe gangster, a dictator in training, and someone who runs the country like a mob boss. Coming from the guy who played some of the most legendary gangsters in Hollywood, that comparison hits hard. De Niro has made it clear he sees Trump as a leader who rules through fear, lies, and intimidation. The way Trump demands loyalty, attacks those who question him, and tries to control the narrative, it reminds De Niro of the power-hungry criminals he's portrayed on screen. But unlike a movie, this isn't entertainment. This is real life. And in De Niro's eyes, America was being played.
I think it really started with, I got interested with Bill Clinton.
With Bill Clinton, he's the person. And did he personally get you involved, or you just saw him and thought, oh, that's a guy that
That's a guy that I think is gonna ride with us a while. And he's the second president I got to meet up close and personal.
Who was the first?
George
Washington?
Bush. You're quick.
His anger isn't just about Trump himself, it's about what he believes Trump did to the country. De Niro has warned that Trump's influence has made hatred and division more acceptable. The rise of racism, the assault on truth, the way people are encouraged to ignore facts and believe whatever Trump says, it terrifies him. De Niro hasn't just spoken out, he's been loud. From award shows to interviews, he's used every platform possible to warn people about the dangers of Trump's leadership. In 2018, he made headlines at the Tony Awards when he shouted, "Fuck Trump," on live TV. He's urged people to vote, criticized Trump's attacks on the media, and even said he'd like to punch him in the face.
Guy should not be president, period. We are at a moment in our life, in this country, where this guy is like a gangster. He's come along and he's said things, done things we say over and over again. This is terrible. We're in a terrible situation. We're in a terrible situation. And this guy just keeps going on and on and on. The day after he was elected, I said, well, give him a chance. You never know, you'll see. But he's worse than I ever could have imagined.
A lot of criticism of you.
Fuck him.
Okay, well, this is cable.
Sorry.
For De Niro, this isn't about politics. It's about fighting against what he sees as a dangerous shift in America. And if he has to be the loudest voice in the room to make people pay attention, so be it. When Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro speak, people listen. Their voices don't just echo within Hollywood, they reach millions worldwide. So when they took a strong stance against Donald Trump, the reactions were immediate and intense. For many Americans, their words resonated. Freeman and De Niro weren't just famous actors, they were respected figures with decades of credibility. Their concerns reflected what millions already felt: fear, frustration, and a sense that the country was heading in the wrong direction. Supporters praised them for speaking out, calling them brave for using their platforms to challenge a powerful leader.
Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he is to confuse people and make them think? No, you think he's
I don't think so.
Why you would guess that there's a big group of people in this country who believe that he cares about them?
I am totally dumbfounded, baffled by that. I can't understand it. And it's a thing that we've seen over decades and decades. And he is a malignant narcissist. He's a sociopsychopath. He's created some new language as far as describing somebody in his mental condition. It's so frightening and scary, and he's dangerous. We got to get rid of him.
Do you ever?
But not everyone saw it that way. Trump's base dismissed them as out-of-touch elites, accusing them of trying to lecture real Americans from their Hollywood mansions. De Niro especially faced intense backlash. His unfiltered attacks on Trump sparked outrage among conservatives, with many calling for boycotts of his movies. Freeman, while less aggressive in tone, also received criticism for stepping into politics. Some argued that actors should stick to entertainment and stay out of government affairs. And with Freeman and De Niro standing firm against Trump, they've added their names to a long list of public figures who refuse to stay silent when history is being written. Donald Trump has never been one to ignore criticism, especially when it comes from high-profile figures. So when Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro spoke out against him, he did what he always does: fired back. Trump has a history of dismissing Hollywood critics as radical leftists and overrated actors. He's called De Niro a low IQ individual and mocked his career, claiming he's taken too many hits to the head from playing tough guys in movies. Trump's supporters cheered him on, viewing his attacks as proof that he wasn't afraid to stand up to the so-called Hollywood elite. Freeman, on the other hand, received less direct backlash from Trump himself, but his criticisms were often lumped into the broader category of fake news and liberal propaganda.
I love this city. I don't want to destroy it. Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world. When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously until they became vicious dictators. With Trump, we have a second chance. And no one is laughing now. This is laughing now. This is the time to stop him.
The implications were clear. Trump thrives on conflict. Instead of ignoring celebrity criticism, he turned it into a political weapon, using it to fuel the idea that Hollywood and the media were out to destroy him. His strategy worked with his base, solidifying the divide between those who saw him as a truth teller and those who saw him as a dangerous force in American politics. But despite Trump's attacks, Freeman and Niro never backed down. Niro continued to hammer Trump publicly, calling him a threat to democracy and using every opportunity to warn Americans about the consequences of another Trump presidency. Freeman, while less aggressive, remained vocal about the dangers he believed Trump posed to the nation's future. Even with the backlash, their influence didn't waver. If anything, their voices only grew louder, because for them, this wasn't just about Trump. It was about what kind of America would be left when he was gone.
A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life?
Morgan Freeman and Robert De Niro didn't speak out for attention. They did it because they saw a country in danger. Whether it was Trump's leadership, the division he fueled, or the threats to democracy, they refused to stay silent. Some cheered them on, others dismissed them, but one thing is clear: their voices matter. Now, it's up to the people. What kind of future does America want? The conversation isn't over. If you found this discussion important, like, share, and keep it going. Because silence, that's never changed anything. If you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.